flew in from Miami just for this. So, yeah, the last time she saw me present, I think I was tap dancing or singing when I was little. I mean, not like recently. So, good morning or afternoon. What time is it? I don't even know. Afternoon. I'm all stressed out. I don't know what's happening. So I thought this would be a really good topic because I think society has done a really good job of talking about diet and fitness, but I think we've missed the mark on really focusing on sleep and managing that stress. So let me do a real quick sound check. Can you guys hear me in the back okay? You need me louder? Are you good? Okay, just tell me, give me the thumbs and I'll go louder. All right, so today we're going to talk about that. And I'm very casual, so if at some point you have a burning question or you don't know what I'm talking about, just give me a little and I'll go over it or I'll ask you, okay? So I don't want you to save all your questions to the end. I like kind of to come and go as we are. All righty, so the keys to better health. Before we start, we need to take a very in-depth survey. Raise your hand if you got a solid, awesome 8 hours of sleep last night. All right. You should get an award. Okay. How about if you got 7, 7.5? Okay. The Sixers. Okay, look around. Less than 6. Wow, that's a lot. And I know you should be getting, right, that 7 to 9 hours, but something's happening. So we're going to talk about that today. All right, second part. Who here has stress in their life? I'm more impressed with the people who didn't raise their hands. All right, well, I've been stressed because I've been stressed about this. I thought I was giving a little presentation to like 20 people. The next thing I know, it was like 200, and then I had to do a TV interview and a radio interview, so I haven't slept in days. So whatever comes out of my mouth will be a surprise to you and me. Okay, so scientific question here. Do you guys remember that movie called Snakes on a Plane? Came out in like 2006. Okay, self-disclosure, who went and saw it? Anybody saw it? Oh, my girl Gabby. Okay. So, Snakes on a Plane. I didn't go see the movie because it's about snakes on an airplane. So I don't like confined spaces, and I don't want snakes shooting out of my overhead compartment when I'm flying. That scares me. I actually had a hard time building this because I don't want to even look at the snakes because they freak me out. Okay, but that's a natural, normal stress response. Okay, and so this is me. I like to garden, so I'm nice and happy out in my garden. And true story, I was out there one day just shoveling, planting my flowers, and I came across a giant anaconda. I'm serious. In my mind, that thing was like this big and that thick. And I went and told my husband, you need to come out and take care of this snake. And I said, it's huge. And then when he came out, it was like, this little thing. And so, but in my brain, when I saw that, that's how I felt. It made me feel panicky. I felt scared. And that fight or flight response, you heard of that? That's your stress response. And so it's called fight, where you get ready to fight. Flight, you run. Or you get what I get, which is freeze. And you can't do anything. Do you remember that scene from E.T. with Elliot long ago, and E.T.'s coming out of the bushes, and Elliot's standing there going, oh, oh. That's me. So I'm doing, Bill, snake. Okay, but that's normal. It's fight, flight, or freeze. That is the stress response. It's a good thing because it gets you out of danger. That's the whole purpose, is for your survival. So let me show you what's happening in your brain, though. So this part of your brain is right here. So you're looking at your brain sideways here, okay? So this is the blue part. It's called the prefrontal cortex. That's the smarty pants. Okay, that's the logical, rational, reasoning, smart part of your brain. This one in the middle, we like to call it the primitive brain. Now the primitive brain just gets you to respond. It's all about survival. And so for me, it's a snake, but if you see something in life that scares you, this kicks into gear and it overrides this every time because you have to stay alive. That's its whole purpose, is to keep you alive, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and guess that most of you do not have anacondas in your backyard like I do. And you're here because you have this. You have chronic stress in your life that's at work with you. Maybe it's a coworker that drives you batty, or you have a micromanaging boss, or maybe you have financial problems, and it's every day, every day, every day, and you can't shake it. So that's called a chronic stress because you don't really know when it's going to end. How many of us have that? It could be health issues, it could be financial, it could be the lovely combination of all of that, right? Okay, so that's probably why we're here, because we're dealing with chronic stress and we want help with that. So did anybody get a chance to do the survey? Okay, all right. Bring out your survey, and if not, let me explain this real quick. This is a very simple little psychology survey. This is if in the last 12 months you have had any of these things occur to you. Okay, so maybe you got divorced, you give yourself a score of 73. And maybe you got fired from work, then you add on 47 to that 73. You get a nice tally at the end, and I'm going to tell you what it means. All right, so those of you who have it tallied up, go ahead and write this down, because you're going to want this scale. If your score is 150 or less, good job. Anybody have that? One. Wow. Okay, one person. All right, so that means if you have a score of 150 or less, you have a very low chance of having a health issue in the next 6 to 12 months. If your score is 151 to 299, you have a 50% chance of having a health issue in the next 6 to 12 months. And if your score is 300 or above, you have an 80% chance of having a health issue in the next 6 to 12 months. What do you think? A little scary? You're probably wondering, what does she mean by health issue? Well, I don't know what that means. Well, let me explain. We don't really know what kind of health issue that could be. That could be you get a sinus infection more frequently, or that could mean something really actually starts to come out. Have you heard of autoimmune diseases? Okay, autoimmunes like diabetes, Crohn's, where the body kind of attacks itself. Well, one of the things that helps trigger autoimmune diseases is stress, okay? And so I like to tell people, your body is like a nightclub. It's fun, it's happening, it's got stuff going on, right? You got the bar happening, you got the DJ playing, it's good stuff. But in order to keep it functioning right, you have to have a bouncer at the front door to let them in, keep them out, right? Got to keep the riffraff out. Well, your bouncer is your immune system. So what happens is stress comes over and kind of suppresses that immune system and moves it away. So now the doors are open for anything to kind of come in and out. So stress doesn't cause illness. It opens the door for illness to come in, okay? This is a scary statistic. So according to the Centers for Disease Control, 90% of symptoms that we go to the doctor for are stress-related. 90%. That's crazy. And these diseases here on the right are all the things that are linked to chronic stress. From autoimmune diseases like diabetes, digestive problems, losing your hair, gum disease, heart disease, the list goes on and on and on. But if that doesn't do it for you, stress ages you, okay? So I think we could probably say that being the president of any country is like the hardest, most stressful job out there. They're always on the go. Think about everything they're getting hit with every day. And so we laugh and we chuckle because you can see in 8 years' time of the before and after, and you go, holy cow. You see the gray hair, you see the wrinkles, but it's happening internally. Your organs are pre-aging, okay? Your cardiovascular system, everything that's keeping you chugging and moving every day is aging more rapidly. And so I want you to be aware of that. And so when you are chronically stressed, you have to remember there's a little hormone called cortisol. It suppresses your digestive system. It suppresses your reproductive system. So you have more problems conceiving. You have more stomach issues, okay? So there's no joke when you say, oh, I feel queasy, I have to give a talk. Well, the brain and the gut are connected, okay? So you see digestive problems. If you have Crohn's or colitis or anything digestive, it will aggravate it. And that immune system gets suppressed. All right, so now that I've freaked you out, how do we beat stress? How do we deal with it? Well, I like to break stress down into 3 chunks. And so I'm going to kind of move from right to left here. The first, you hear people talk about thoughts. You have to think positive. You have to think happy thoughts, okay? So, me coming up here and thinking last night before I give a speech I'm going to die, that was probably not a good thought to have, right? Did anybody read my column yesterday? But I have 2 people. Awesome. Okay, so I did a column on public speaking and how much, I'm pretty sure every time I do it, I'm going to die. I kid you not, but I think that, but I know I shouldn't think that because then you set yourself up. So when you have stuff that's stressful, what are you telling yourself that's getting you keyed up? There's a part of that, and that's those thoughts. The second thing is the exposure. So do you just have to give a speech today and then you're done? Or you're giving a speech today and you're filing for bankruptcy, and you're going through a divorce, and you're dealing with a health issue. Now your exposure level is getting higher and higher, okay? And that's what that list was showing you. But the part I want to talk to you today about is actually the body. And that's the body basics. And nobody ever talks about this part. And so this is the part that, there's my little star, I want you to think about when we leave this room today. I want you to start to think about the very, very basic, most basic things that your body needs that is actually going to help you deal with stress. You guys know you should be outside getting exercise and moving. And exercise doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. Just movement, go outside. The sunlight alone, by the way, helps you with your circadian rhythms. So if you're having problems sleeping, you have to go out in the sun to actually get yourself set better, okay? We know we need to be focusing on diet. I'm going to hit that in a little bit. But I really want to talk today about the most fun one of all, and that's sleep, because we don't get it. How easy if somebody said, hey, you want to lose weight? Yes. You want to go to the gym? No, not really. You want to eat kale? No, I don't. How about you sleep longer? So let's focus on the fun one. Okay, so let me show you what's happening with sleep and stress. It's a vicious cycle. We can either start with stress or we can start with sleep because they both affect each other. So let's go ahead and say you didn't sleep well last night, okay? Well, when you wake up, study actually found that the next day's night's sleep, your cortisol level is higher. Now, cortisol is a hormone that wakes you up. It makes you more alert. And by the way, it peaks around 8, 9 a.m. in the morning. It's meant to get you up. But it's also a stress hormone. So when you're keyed up, that's cortisol kicking in, okay? So you're kind of feeling like this. Oh, and by the way, when you don't get sleep, there's 2 little hormones that regulate you feeling hungry and full. Well, they get all out of whack, so you feel hungry all day when you are sleep deprived. And you don't feel hungry like to have kale and a piece of steak. You want chips, you want a bag of, you want a soda, you want some candy. When your body doesn't get restoration through sleep, it wants it through food. Have you ever noticed that you are snacking all day when you have not slept well? Okay? Do not think it's willpower. Your hormones are working against you because they are trying to keep you alive. But you gain weight, okay? Because you don't really need all those calories. So now we've gained weight, we're out of whack, we're feeling stressed, and then we can't sleep now. Okay, so it just goes around and around and around. So today I want to show you what's really going on with your sleep. So this is a sleep cycle. Stage 1 and stage 2, okay? These are called light sleep. You need light sleep or REM. You ever heard of that rapid eye movement? That's where you dream, okay? That's where if you're easily woken up, the dog barks or something, or the kids come in and tap you, you wake up and you feel okay. You need light sleep for the brain to restore itself. So what you learn today when you go to sleep tonight, that's actually going to get processed during sleep. That's the cognitive restoration. You have to have that. But here, stage 3, stage 4, that's called deep sleep. Deep sleep is where your body heals. That's if you had that sinus infection or you broke your ankle. That's when the immune system is repairing itself in that deep sleep. And that's when somebody comes in and wakes you up in deep sleep and you feel like, oh my God, I can't wake up. And it takes you like 2 hours to get over that. Okay, that you were in deep sleep. So here's the natural way sleep works. You fall into deep sleep, then you back up to light sleep, and then down and back up. And you actually have about 5 cycles of those, about 90 minutes per night. Okay? Little fact, I don't know if you guys knew this or not. This, between 3 and 5 a.m., you've heard of circadian rhythms, right? Your body wants to be asleep between 3 and 5 a.m. It just does, okay? How many of you go to work or went to work between the hours of 3 and 5 a.m. where you had to get up, get out the door, and go work? A lot of us, okay? If you're in a hospital setting, you're in manufacturing, you're up all times of night, right? Well, look at this. It's called a circadian low. You can use that today in a conversation. You'll sound really smart. Between 3 and 5 a.m., you're in a circadian low. Your body wants to sleep. But then again, this afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m., your body wants to sleep. So when you leave today, I want you to pay attention, and it's going to happen, to when you start to get the sleepies, and when you feel like this today, that is so cute. It's going to hit you. I want you today, when you feel like this, you're like, what is wrong with me? I had too many carbs at lunch. I'm dying. When you feel this way, look at the clock, okay? And then send me an email and be like, you were right, okay? So I hit this around 2:30. So my circadian clock's a little bit more between 2:30 and 4:30. I just can't fight that. When you are sleep deprived, it's really going to hit you, okay? But the takeaway on this one is don't be making crucial decisions between the hours of 3 to 5, okay? If you have to drive, be very aware that some of the highest rates of accidents are between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. because your body wants to be asleep, okay? So when life hits you and stress is coming at you and around 3 o'clock you feel like, I can't handle this nasty email, don't. You are in a low, okay? Your body is physically depleted. Wait till about 6 and then come back to that nasty gram and then deal with it later, okay? Here's another tidbit. Did you know that after you're awake for about 12 hours, you start to get tired? But the 13-hour mark, so here's what it looks like. You wake up, takes a little while, you're good for 12 hours, and then 13 hours, it doesn't go like this. 13 hours, you start to go vroom, and you start to get exhausted. Your body starts to wipe out. So I question why some of the things that we do in life, like for instance, I always think of nurses in the medical field, well, we work a 12-hour shift. When we know the research is saying by 13 hours, your performance, you're dropping, you're exhausted. So be aware, because sometimes we have things like the medical field, police officers, we need you 24/7. So you gotta come up with ways to, hey, we're gonna be feeling a low, and don't worry if you guys yawn and fall asleep in here, I know you need the rest, okay? But just be aware of that and just know I'm going to be hitting a dip there, okay? So what can I do? What can I do to help sleep better? I want you to start to eat for sleep. Eat for sleep. Who knew that one of the best things that you can do to eat is eat cherries? Cherries are very high in melatonin. And if you don't like to eat the cherries, you can get cherry juice. Research looked at about 8 ounces a day for about 2 weeks of cherry juice. Just any time of the day, it builds up the melatonin. And within 2 weeks, you actually start to sleep better. Pineapple, very high in melatonin as well. Everybody likes pineapple, except when you got to peel it. That's a terrible fruit. Tryptophan. You guys heard of tryptophan, right? Turkey, Thanksgiving knocks you out, right? Not really. The tryptophan does help you because it helps with sleep. But when you combine the tryptophan with the carb, that's when you have the and knocks you out on Thanksgiving. So it's the turkey plus the mashed potatoes that knocks you out. So if you can find something like cheddar cheese, which is actually higher in tryptophan than turkey, cheddar cheese and crackers about an hour or two before bed will help calm the body down, relaxes the mind, helps you go to sleep. Cottage cheese and peaches, or the famous bowl of cereal. You got your carb, got your milk, knock you out, okay? Magnesium. If you take a magnesium supplement, that's great, but a lot of research has found that people who deal with insomnia are low in magnesium, okay? So lentil soup, if you want to go the food route, or just an over-the-counter magnesium will help you. All right, self-confession time. I know you mean well. You're having your drink before you go to bed to relax yourself. But here's what's happening. Remember that up and down cycle I showed you? When you have alcohol, it is a depressant, so it will relax you. And you will fall into deep sleep. But what happens is when you come out of deep sleep, the rest of the night, you kind of stay in light sleep. And so you don't get that restorative body sleep that you need to feel recovered. So what do you do in the morning? You hype yourself up on coffee and caffeine, right? Yeah, so you do the caffeine alcohol roller coaster, okay? So if you do want to have your alcohol 4 hours before bed, 4 hours before bedtime. And for every glass that you have, you need to have a bottle of water. And I don't mean your glass, I mean like the recommended 5-ounce glass, okay? So if you do the full goblet, you're gonna need like 2 bottles of water, okay? That's just to help to flush out the alcohol so that you can sleep better, okay? These are fun because now we start arguing with the spouses. My husband was not happy when I was like, get the TV out of the bedroom because I couldn't sleep. But, you know, he hemmed and hawed, but we moved it over in a little man cave area, so he's good now. But you have to get the devices out of the room. Televisions, lights. You want big curtains to block out the light. Light resets the circadian rhythms, and so it wakes you up. And do not look at the clock in the middle of the night when you wake up and you look and you're like, what time is it? Oh, I gotta get up and go to work. No, go back to sleep. You know, it doesn't work. And you've just jacked up your adrenaline and you're not going back to sleep. So don't even look. Turn your clock away, okay? Don't look at your clock. So you should have no light in that bedroom, okay? And the devices, you really don't want to be reading the devices before bed, not within an hour. Go back to the old-fashioned way of sit in a chair in the living room, read your book, and go to bed, okay? Hard habit to break. And the final one on the bottom there, 68 degrees, helps you sleep better. Yes. Here's why. When you're up and moving, your core temperature elevates, and when it's hot, you're alert. But as it starts to drop, you start to hibernate and you want to sleep. So you naturally do that through the temperature in the room and you will sleep better, okay? Women, go home, tell your husbands that when you go home. So I don't have enough time to hit on all of the things because we could do a whole talk on the thoughts part as well and the exposures, but I really want you to focus just on that sleep part, okay guys? It's so crucial. You've all seen little children in the mall who just drop to the ground and they're just, I want to go home. And you walk by and you feel sad for the parents, and then you go, oh, little Johnny needs a nap, or little Johnny's hungry. That's what I'm talking about. When you are physically depleted, you are no different than that little 3-year-old, okay? You might hide it better, but your body is still feeling the same effects. So do not open that, mortgage statement between 3 and 5. Do not open it when you are feeling depleted. Have a snack, get your blood sugar up, take a nap, then start to deal with the stressors in life. But be aware, when your tank is empty, you're not going to perform well. If you would like, I do write a column for the Savannah Morning News. It comes out every other Monday. All of them are on performance. So there is a health aspect to it, but my job really is to help people perform better. So whether you're an athlete or if you're somebody at work, I want you to be able to be on your game for that sales pitch, for that, something you've got to do, working on a spreadsheet or something, you've got to be accurate. I want to help you with that. And so we did a whole series on gut health and on stress and on why you should have a massage and why workplaces should offer massage, because it actually helps you with stress. And so if you'd like to, you can go to savannahnow.com and read up on some of those articles. Plus, I'd be really happy because my mom is here and she thinks all of you are reading it, so if you could read it. So here's some takeaways. And I gave you guys a handout, so these are some little tips in here, so you didn't have to take too many notes. So you've got these handouts in front of you. Watch the stress, okay, because it ages you. Eat for sleep. And here's one that I didn't tell you. You want to take naps. Naps are very good. And as we get older, your sleep needs do not change, okay? I know as we get older, the brain changes a little bit, so you have a harder time staying asleep. We may wake up more frequently, but you still need that 8 hours. So you really need to take naps. The best time to take a nap is when you're tired. However, some of us have to get up and we can't take a 4-hour nap, okay? We have to get up and move. So here's what you do. This is the only thing you're gonna remember today, by the way. You have a cup of coffee, take a nap. Within 20 to 30 minutes, the caffeine will wake you up and you can go about your day, and that's a power nap, okay? Who knew? Yes. So it's just enough time to get into that REM sleep, give you a little recovery, but when you hit that 45-minute mark, that's when you hit deep sleep, and it's so hard to wake up from that. It takes you an hour or two to get out of it, so you don't want to hit deep sleep when you're on a schedule. Okay, coffee, 20, 30 minutes, you'll naturally wake up. So that is it today. You like that? I showed my kids, they're in elementary school, and they're like, why? Why are you showing this to the public? So I brought family shame with my little dancing gif here. So I'm going to end it on that, and I want to hear from you guys and have a little conversation time. Yes, ma'am. Oh.